So today we are going to start about the cloud service models. So as you are aware about the cloud service models, we already discussed about them, what they are and how they are important and how they are different from each other. And we will see that how and which model is important for any sort of the organization or industry. And as we know that the organizations and institutes and industries, they have the different level what we mean from their volume. So each of the means volume based on the industry, like SMEs are the huge, are the giant companies, are the normal companies, are the private limited, and also we know that we have the individual users as well. So we will see that how and what type of the different cloud service model may be suitable to which means a requirement of the industry and to which one is the best for the individual and what are the pros and the cons for of the each service model. We know that there are the three well-known service models are there, what we call them, like SaaS, which is the software as a service, and then the other one is the platform as a service, and the other one is the infrastructure as a service. So we see that how means they are suitable for which category and how uh, and what type of the benefits they have and how and what type of the characteristics they have and how and what type of the pros in case of choosing any specific model they have. And also we will see that what are the means cons or the drawback from any specific model. And we can see as well that how and which model is suitable to which one and what type of the companies are in the industry which are providing these services like for the different models. So we would try to, have a in-depth type of the analysis to understand this one. Now here, before we start, you need to understand that when we are saying that which one is the best or which one has a pros or which one has a cons, so you don't consider them that means the best as a best or pros as a pros or cons as a cons. What I mean exactly, I mean exactly that in case if suppose the sum of the model is best for means someone, but it doesn't means that itself the model is not means the model is good, but that model is maybe not good for the other case. So it doesn't mean that the model is means not good. So this is how why and what criteria we will be claiming or saying or analyzing that which one is best. So we will be doing this on the basis of its what we can call matches that which model is going to fulfill the exact requirement for the industry or exact requirement are matching very closely for individuals or which one is for the SMEs and so on and so on. So that will be a sort of mapping, and that sort of mapping will be done based on the characteristics and the services that they hold or they provide to us. So when we say the one is best for this, it or one is best for not good, or not suitable for ABC. So it doesn't mean that that model overall is not suitable. That model is suitable, but in what cases, in what means requirements, and that model is not suitable. That means that in what cases. So in other words, we can try to understand that how, as a cloud engineer, you will be able to analyze based on their characteristics, based on their information, based on their services, based on their availabilities, and based on the other factors, how as a means cloud engineer, you can suggest and you can map and you can means find out the best suitable option for any organization based on its volume, based on its requirement, based on its need. That is the whole means motive. That is the whole message what we can say from our means today's lecture that you will be able to understand beside of the other information as well. That now after the end of this one, you will be able to find out that which could be the cloud model, service model is best for which one option. So we just start now. So today we will be discussing about that we have the three service models. So that's why we will be discussing all of them as we discuss software as a service and the platform as a service and infrastructure as a service. These are the three popular models. So we'll discuss them, and also we'll be discussing about the additional service models today. So learning outcomes, what you are going to cover, as we already discussed about that on completion of this topic, you will be able to explain the characteristics and analyze the suitability of the pros and cons and of the SaaS, PaaS, and IaaS. So this is actually suitability in what a way that you will be now means ending of this, because you will be knowing their characteristics, you will be knowing about their services, you will be knowing about their pros, you will be knowing about their means efficiency, you will be knowing about their limitations as well. So now you will be able to fetch exactly for any of the industry as a cloud engineer, if suppose they are looking for the cloud service model, so you can be able to suggest that which one is more better, best suitable for them. So in the same way, this is aligned with your MLU2, where we say the compare and evaluate the multiple cloud application using your cloud model or cloud platforms. So here we go. When we start, so as you see that we already discussed about that we have the three service model, which are the popular one and which are the means available, the source and the pass and the means ARs. So now from this figure, you can see these are the basic models, and you can see the SAS is at the top and PAS is at the means center and ARS is at the means bottom. So why it is like that? So it is like that because what is it depend on its the level of the services what they are providing. It depend on means whatever the level of the difficulty services what they are providing. So we will understand them that how and why and where they are. So these are the uh, three different cloud service models, and we will discuss one by one means and one by one, and we will discuss about their pros, about their cons, about their characteristics, about their limitations, and where they can best suit, and what cases are for what applications that is means not best suitable, and like that. So that will make us enable at the end of the day to understand or analyze the user requirements if suppose they are looking for the cloud services. So here we go. We start from the first one model, which is the software as a service. We may call SaaS or SaaS. Uh, so what is this? So you notice that this is the means service model, which is at the top. But first we need to understand that what it is. So you can see from here that in traditional software models, okay, because this model is the software as a service. So it means that is a model in the cloud which will provide us the software as a service, which is very clear from its name that the cloud which is providing the services to the user, but what type of the services it will be going to provide? Software as a service. So it means that the ready software will be means there and they will be providing it. So what do you mean by the ready software? It means that the user who are looking for the software directly, and they are not looking for the infrastructure, they are not looking for the platform, they are not looking for the installation, they are not looking for the configuration, they are not looking for the other dependencies, but they are looking directly for the softwares. So those softwares, when clouds they provide us, they come under this service model. So for example, before we go ahead, we just got a one example like what we are using software as a service model. A very not just straight, but a just very simple example from where you can be better for you to understand the things quickly. So we can say like suppose the cloud services, what we are using, the Dropbox and the Google Drive and these things. So these are the softwares what we are using. So user does not require any configuration, user does not require any infrastructure, user does not require anything, but the capabilities that what we have, we are using them and we are using as we pay or whatever the services we are authorized, we are going for that. So in that way, the SaaS is delivered as on-demand service over the internet. So it is as per the on-demand. We have means access the default. Say for example, for the Dropbox or Google Drive, suppose we want to go for the more, then we can means demand for more, and we are supposed to pay more, and then we will be able to get the further services. So as you can see from here that there is no need to install the software to the end user. In these cases, suppose you are using the Google Drive, you are using, so you can have the browsers, you can have, means for the Dropbox, you can have the browsers, which is not, means required. It's not necessary that you have to configure, you have to install, you have to, means fix everything on your machine, and then you will be only able to go for that. No, because these are the ready services which can be the user can be using at his own requirement. And then we can see how he or she or the company they are using those services. So this is the simplest means concept which is related to the one what we are discussing about the SaaS. So SaaS services can be accessed from any lightweight web browser. So we can understand that the SaaS are the means as a software as a service. So it is providing the services to the user, but those services are as a software. So it can be accessed by using any of the web browser. And some of the source can be accessed even from the thin client. I hope that you are aware about the thin client. It means that the thin client does not have a capability of processing, but it can be means making us enable to access the things. So now from here, what we understand that the source, it means that is the one when user is looking for any software as a service. What it mean by the service whenever we are calling or what it is mentioned that software as a service, it means that the user need a software, user don't want to install, user don't want to configure, user don't want to develop that software, user don't want to have the infrastructure, user don't want to have the platform, means that should be the platform independent, whatever the platform you are using, should not be an issue. Whatever the machine you are using, there should not be an issue. Whatever the means configuration of your machine, that does not be having an issue, and anybody is supposed having only the browser, he or she will be able to use that. So that's what we call at the software as a service. Now this is the primary understanding. So this can be accessed by the individuals, this can be accessed by the industry, even the giant industry, even the small industry, even the normal industry. But this is the only point what we understand that what is the software as a service. And now we have to means go deep in, and we need to see that what are the basic characteristics of this, what are the pros and what are the means what suitabilities and what are the cons for this one. Because until and unless we will not know about these things, we will not be able to advise, to recommend, to suggest to any particular individual or the company that which one model is best suitable based on their requirements. So if we just go ahead, so you can see that the services provided by the SaaS, now we need to see that what type of the services they are providing. We understand that they are, I mean, providing software, but software for what? In what areas? So you can see from here, the first and the most important point is about the business services. Then we notice that about the social network services. So there are the cloud, they are providing the business services such as the CRM systems, billing systems, ERP solutions, HR solutions, sales solutions, and there are so many things. Okay, they are being provided by the cloud. So now it means that those solutions are provided to the organizations, and those means solutions are provided by them. So those systems they are built at the cloud. They are means we are not required for the infrastructure. We are not required for the platform. We are not required for anything, but we are using directly only the applications. And we, as an individual, we as an industry, we as a corporate sector, we are fulfilling our requirement. In the same way, you can see for the social networks that in the social networking also sites extensively they are using the public and the many social networking they are using adopting the means SaaS services. You have so many examples like Facebook, like the Twitters and so many other things as well. So you can see that these sites are means increasing exponentially, and the cloud computing is the perfect match for them. So they can provide the services, and they can provide uh, the services to the individual users and also to the business accounts as well. So these are the services. What are the means being provided by the source, and on top of that, There are so many services, but we will just try to means explore the few of them for your mind uh, um, storming or for your brain storming, so you can understand. So other than the business services, other than the social network services, the document management services are there, the mail management services are there. If you remember, as we discussed that the means ERP solutions, CRM solutions, billing solutions, sales solutions, HR solutions, education solutions, finance solutions. There are so many things, and social network solutions, documentation solutions, and the mail services, as we are using so many means mail servers, and they are providing so many mail solutions to their clients as well. These all services are means apart from the software as a service. So what we mean by the email services, what we are currently and the people are using, and future what aspects we are going to use, and while we are going for the means hosting and for the domain services. So everyone and each and every organization, they are using the mail services, the different mail services. So these are services, they are actually the part of the cloud, and they belongs to the SaaS. So from this we can see that any of the organization, if suppose you are opening an organization, you are just going for the cloud services, you can go for the means mail services and other services. You are not required to configure your mail server and these things, but you can be able to have the ready services that you can use. Are the services. So first we understand what is the source, and then we understand that what type of the services it is providing, because this can open our mind that how vast or how means widely it is spread. Means so we can see that where it is and how we can see that. Okay. Now when we go after providing a services, then we need to understand the characteristics. So why we are trying to understand about the characteristics? First, we understand what it is. Then we try to understand it, what type of the services they are providing. Then we are going to understand it, what characteristics are. Then we will discuss that what are the suitabilities for the source. And then we will see that what are the pros and what are the cons. Because our motive, our goal is to understand what are the pros and cons. Because based on that, as a cloud engineer, we will be able to advise to our client that what services or what service model they can choose. And we cannot reach to the means pros and cons. We cannot understand the pros and cons until we don't know the characteristics, until we don't know that which service model is providing what type of the services, until we don't know that what it is. So that's why we are means looking these type of things to understand them. And this is the same pattern we will be discussing not only for the SaaS, but we will be discussing about the PaaS and IaaS as well. We'll be discussing what they are, what their characteristics are, what type of the services they are providing, and what means to what applications they are suitable and to what applications they are not suitable. And then only we will be able to see that what are the pros and what are the cons. Okay, so they are very much interlinked with each other, because these information drive us to take to the final and the right solution or the suggestion or the proposal to the client, that means what type of the service model they can be able to choose. So for that reason, now we are discussing about the characteristics of the SaaS. In this, you can see they have many characteristics. Number one is the one to many. What it mean by one to many? That means that it can be service can be handled for from the one source to the multiple people. Like suppose the Dropbox and Google Drive, what we have discussed, the mail services, ERP, and what are the other services. So you can see that they can be providing to the many people, many organizations, they can be using. What are the other characteristics? Web access. So the user may not be required to configure or install anything, but they can be able to have the web access, and they can be able to means utilize or use the services, whatever the services they are there. Now, on top of that, the centralized management. Yes, it will be centralized management. It is centralized management because the first characteristic, the first character of the source is about the one to many, which is the clear message that it is having the centralized management. It is going to be handled from the one point, and then it is going to be distributed services to the multiple of the several means domains, several applications, and several clients. The good thing is that in the SaaS, it is the centralized management. So having a centralized management, there are the pros and cons as well. So if it's a centralized management, so it means that it is easy to handle, in time to handle, low cost to handle as well. And what are the cons that we will be discussing later on. At the moment, we are discussing then what are the characteristics of this service model. So on top of that, the other things as well that what we are discussing in the characteristics, those things are actually multi-device support. So you remember that we just discussed that they have a support for multi-devices. Okay, so it doesn't mean that if suppose you are having an account, so you cannot use from, you are supposed to use only on the one device, but you can use on your handphone, you can use on your laptop, you can use on your desktop, you can use on tablet, wherever, whatever you, that is the characteristics. That is the important character. What it mean by the characters? The characters, they are means explaining us about the strength of that particular service model. Okay, these are the actually strength of that service model, that this service model contain this information. So the next is the better scalability. So we can see that it's one to many, it has a better scalability, it can support on the multi-device, and people can use on multi-device, it is the platform independent, and it can handle the multiple number of the users. So it is simple that it is the means better, having a better scalability. Higher availability. Higher availability, it means that it is available 24 hours. It's not like our own private infrastructure office machine where we are supposed to go and visit to the office, then only we will be able to access. And when the office is closed, then we are not able to access our machine. But it is the high availability which is available at anywhere, not only on our network, but we can be able to access on the public networks as well. So it is 24/7 availability and everywhere availability, no restrictions, no boundaries, no regions, but it is freely available at all of the times from the any of the place. Then the other character for this one is the API integration. So it also provides us the capability to integrate the different APIs. So it is not only that it is means keeping us limited, but it has the capability to integrate the different means APIs. So we can extend our services as well. So these all are the characters. And now we are looking for the suitability of clause. So what is the suitability? When we know about its what character it has, when we know that what it is, now we are trying to know that it is suitability as source in what we can see here that the source is the popular among the individuals. So it means that the SaaS model is more popular in the individual peoples or individual users or individual customers. And also it is very much popular. The companies, they have the startup. Okay, when they have the companies, they have the startups. So at that time, normally they don't have infrastructure. Normally they don't have platform. Normally they don't have human resource. Normally they don't have the huge budgets. Normally they don't have the capabilities, okay, to start from the scratch. So this is the most suitable for the individual users, and this model is more suitable for the startup or the for any of the companies who are just growing and just started. So this is the most suitable. So you see now these informations can means give you the right understanding that where and how you can decide in case you suppose you are responsible to decide about this. So the on-demand software. So this is another means suitability of this one, because when we are discussing for this one, so any software, whatever we have, we can means use that on demand. Whatever we pay, however, and service we want, wish to go. What it mean by the on-demand software? It means that even if suppose we are looking for the more software, we can request. And if suppose we are not looking for the more software, so we can fetch with our requirements. So the most important point is that we can fetch as per our requirement, and we can use them whatever the we have our need according to that one. That is the suitability of the source as well. The further suitability are the software for the startup companies. That's what we just discussed. Okay. So in the for the startup companies, they are not required to spend their money, to spend their times for infrastructure, for hardware, for human resource, and for the other things. But they can save their money, they can save their cost, and they can go with a customized level of package, whatever exactly they require, and that will be the services or the software. They are already tested, they are already validated, they are already publicly accepted. So that these are the best benefits. So that's why it is the most suitable for the software which are the startup companies, and the softwares that which are the compatible with the multiple devices as well. This is a more suitability. Say, for example, one of the marketing company, which is at the startup, and they, in the marketing company, they have their client from the different regions even. They have their clients from the different languages even. They have a client which are using the different the operating system even. So they cannot that is the most suitable for them. So they can go for this model. So that can be accessible easily without not counting these all of the troubles and the problems, because this is, as we discussed, that while we were trying to understand this one, that this can work with only the browser. No installation is required. So the browser is there, whatever the platform is, what browser is there, whatever the device is, web browser is there, is whatever the region is. So that's what it means, that it is the most suitable for the software, for the startup companies, or for the individual persons, or wherever the compatibility issue is there, wherever the multi-device issues are there. So in those all cases, this is the most suitable. So software with the varying loads. So the load on the popular applications such as social networking sites, this is unpredictable. So the companies, the those companies which has a requirement where the scalability is higher, the load is higher on the software. So this case, sauce is best suitable for that. It means that you remember that we discussed that it is highly scalable. Its availability is high. So this is the best suitable. If suppose the companies are going for their own, then they are supposed to have the infrastructure at that level so they can support. But say, for example, for the marketing purpose, for the social networking purpose, and for the other different type of the businesses where we cannot predict the load of the users. Can be hundreds, can be thousands, and can be millions in a means no more time. So this is how we need to manage. This is means if we are managing at our own, then it will increase and enhance the cost. Whenever we say the cost here, you need to understand the cost is not in terms of money, but cost in terms of time, cost in terms of infrastructure, cost in terms of hardware, cost in terms of human resource, cost in terms of money as well. And there are so many things. So this will be the hard thing for us. And also another thing, say for example, if suppose we are managing at our own spaces, on our own premises, even if we manage, even we manage the more human resource, more hardware and everything. But what happens if suppose this hype, which is like a social network that people can hit to the millions of the user, maybe this happened only once in a year. So why we spend a lot of money? Why we hire so many people? Why we have huge infrastructure? So if these are the cases, our application is like that, then in that particular case, the SaaS is the best suitable option for us. So you can see that this is the suitable option, or what are the suitabilities what we are discussing about the SaaS. Now going ahead, you can see that SaaS is suitable. It has so many good characteristics. What it is, how it is, okay, whatever the properties it has. But always you need to keep in your mind that everything, the coin is always has the two sides, the positive and the negative as well. So the positive and negative as well, what it means actually, when we talk about the sauce is not, so sauce is suitable for this, at the same time, the sauce is not suitable for some of the systems as well. So what are these things? The first and the most important point, say for example, if we are considering the real-time applications, where we have real-time applications and where we cannot bear the delay, say for example, the stock exchange services, and especially when we have the low internet connections, when we have the latency issues, okay, or when we have the real-time applications which are very sensitive applications. So in those all applications, in those all cases, we need to understand that this SaaS model is not best suitable because of these limitations, the application or the requirement of the user will not be fulfilled. So it is better in all of the most of the circumstances, but again, it is not better in so of the other things as well. So we need to understand that very well. So that's what you remember at the start. We discussed that they are good enough, they are best enough, and they are not good enough for something. So it doesn't mean when we are saying it's good enough, then it doesn't mean that it is good enough. It doesn't mean when we are saying it's not suitable, it doesn't mean that it's really not suitable because if it is not suitable, depend on the scenario. If it is best suitable, depend on the scenario as well. So you need to understand according to that. Say for example, here we are saying it is not suitable for the live application. Why? Because of the low internet connection. Why? Because of the latency. But what happens if suppose we are using the 5G or then the 6G in the future, like suppose now they already tested the devices recently, that wirelessly they have the hardware which can support this 36 GB per second. So in the future that will be in our hands. So what happened? They already means tested that the more than the 40 terabyte speed with the wire connections, 40 terabyte per second. It's not per minute, 40 terabyte per second. So we can see that there is no latency, there is no issues, and if suppose we have good infrastructure, good internet connection, then even we can say this what we are saying right now, it is not suitable, but that would be the suitable at this that stage. But again, once we know right inside each service model. So we need to know everything, and then we need to understand the client requirement. We need to see that who is the client, what they are doing, what type of services they are using, and what type of services they are looking. So then we can map them and compare them, analyze them, and then we will be able to find out that which service model can be suitable for them. So you need to understand that suitability and not suitability is depend on the different factors. That's what I'm trying to focus again and again. Okay, going ahead, that we are saying it's not suitable for applications with the confidential data. Yeah, this is something critical. Okay, because suppose we are using for the some of sort of the confidential data, then it's better that we have our own private infrastructure. We have our own platform. We may not go for that. Maybe this is means going to be hacked or something or compromised or whatever it is. You notice that the Twitter is using the cloud services. You notice that the Facebook is using the service. And there are so many social networks. That's what we discuss right now. And if we suppose go with the security issues, I don't know that how many from you are, linked with the cybersecurity, but again, you will be able to understand. Again, if you just Google it, you can find it out that recently the Twitter accounts, so many Twitter accounts were compromised. In the past, so many, means billions of the accounts were compromised by the Facebook. In the past, there were the same case happened for the Yahoo and same case happened for the so many other companies as well. So what happened? This is what we say that if suppose this is the case, then we can say that this is we have means not suitable if we are focusing primarily on the secrecy and security of our data, which is means not compromisable at any cost. Then in that particular cases means it is better that we need to go for the on-premises level. And in case suppose we any of the company, any of the sort of the organization of the corporate sector, we have their infrastructure of the platform they are using. And now, if suppose we suggest them to transfer to this service model, then again we need to see that migration is not easy. Migration is not easy because there are so many things are involved. So if suppose they are migrating to this one, what will happen to the existing infrastructure? What will happen to means the existing the platform or the company they are using? And we have to see that how much it is. We have to see again based on their requirements and so on and so on. So these all are the key points we are supposed to understand in a better way as we can be able to decide that what would be better. So after knowing these all things, now we are in a position to able to understand actually that what are the pros and what are the cons. because now we know it is suitable for what. Now we know it is not suitable for what. Now we know if it is not suitable, why. And now if we know what is suitable, then why. Now we know what are the characters, now characteristics. Now we know what it is. Now we know what services they are providing. After that, we will be only able to identify the pros and cons. Because these pros and cons, they can help us to give a proposal to recommend the any of the particular service model to any of our client. So now here we go for the pros and cons. So you can see the SaaS provides the benefits. On the other, the first and the most important benefit is about the cost. Whenever we say about the cost, so you remember I told you that please don't confuse yourself the cost in terms of money. The cost in terms of so many other factors, like the human resource, like the infrastructure, like the hardware, like the expertise, like the time, like the development, and like the money as well. So these all are the different aspects that is going to be there. So now, what are the pros? The pros are the most importantly, we can see about the cost. Here, if suppose someone is going either individual, either the organization level, they are going for this one, so they will be able to save a lot of cost. Whatever the cost, whatever the factors we discussed, if someone required to implement that, they will not require to have that. Without that, it will be done without any issue. And no client-side installation is also required. So it means even the hardware, whatever the companies are an individual you have, that is even sufficient enough. And you are not required to have any special or specific other what we call the hardware. So that's also saving of the cost and also saving of the configuration, saving of the technicalities or the technical skills, because you're not configuring, so you are not responsible to means manage that. You're not responsible to handle that. You are not responsible to make means consider the security for that software as well, because you are able to use that using the web browser. So what are the other means pros of SaaS are less maintenance. Yes, it's less maintenance because nothing in your hand. You are directly just using the services. You're not configuring, not using installation, nothing else. So that's why less maintenance and it's very easy to use and it provide a dynamic scaling. That's what we just discussed in case if suppose we're using for the social networks. If the level of the user's requests are going to increase exponentially, there is no issue, we can manage it. And its ease of use, whatever the browsers, whatever the platform, whatever the people, whatever from the regions they are using. Whenever we say about the region, what it means, whenever we say the region we are referring, please keep in mind, region we are referring with respect to the time. Say, for example, in one of the region, there is a daytime, in other region, there is a night, and there other region, working office hours, and other regions, they are not working office hours. So we are saying, whenever we are saying that in the other regions, so it means at any time, it means it is providing the services, so we can use those services. So these are the pros, and the further pros are means it's easy for the disaster recovery. So in case if suppose any disaster has happened at the client side, at the company side, a fire is erupted, all the machineries are gone. Say for example, viral attack is there. Suppose the any malware is there, operating system issues are there. Again, there is no issue because your all of the services and your everything is with the cloud, so you are not to be worried whenever you just have update yourself. So you are not supposed to means be worried about the disaster recovery, but that will be automatically that will be the part of the cloud. So that is the also the one of the benefit from this one. And as we discussed that this is the multi-tenancy. So we are not only one who are using the Dropbox or Google Drive, but the different companies, different individual peoples, different organizations, different regions they are using. So this is the multi-tenancy. So that's why that is the also one of the means benefit from this one. But as we say that always there are no benefits, but whenever we have benefits, it means on the other side, for sure we have the drawbacks as well. So the same thing now we're discussing about if suppose these are the benefits, these are the pros, these are the positive points, these are the good things. what are the negative points, what are the limitations, what are the cons as well. So in the con, if you remember that we already discussed, the one and the most importantly drawback for this is security, because your security is not in your hand. If security is going to be compromised, then this will be a big issue. And as we discussed that it is the multi-tenancy. So many people are using. So it is open to the so many means peoples. It's open to the so many companies, open to the so many regions. So it could be, means the threat level is very high. And again, the bottom level is that the security is not in your hands. So that is the critical means negativity and the drawback and the limitation and the cons from the SAS. And the connectivity requirement, that's an other issue. Okay, it requires, it can be accessible through the browser, but it requires the means internet connection. And internet connection means a good connection. If suppose you are in a rural areas, you are in some region where the internet connection is not up to the level, so it means that this will be the sort of the limitation, even though services are there, but you are not able to utilize that. While the other cons, the loss of control. Sometimes if suppose you lost control because of any reason, because of internet connectivity, because of the any issue, because of any malfunctioning, because of the downtime, because of any issue, you cannot do anything. It's completely out of your control. Without waiting, you cannot do. What it mean? Why we are saying you cannot do? Because if suppose you have your own infrastructure, if you have your own organizational setup, if suppose anything, so you can have access, so you can try to fix it, and you know that the downtime is why, and you can know or estimate and predict it. This downtime will be how long, and then how can you fix it. But in these cases, you cannot be able to know, no surety about this. So that's the drawback as well. Now, the popular SaaS providers, because we know that this is the one which is the means providing the software as a service, and we also discussed that so many individual. When we talk about the individual, then it means that model service model has a great number of the users, because the number of individuals is always higher compared to the companies. But this service model is being used by the individuals as well as by the companies. So that's why there are a great number of the users. That's why there are so many companies, there are so many service providers for this as well. So you can see from the list that the Salesforce, they are providing services, Google App, Microsoft Office, NetSuite, Concur, GoToMeeting, Concrete, and the means Workday, Oracle. There are so many. We cannot name them all here, but we just included a few. That's why your brain is talking. So you can know there are so many means Intel as well, and even there are so many new cloud services. So there are so many because the number of the users are many and the scope is higher. So these are the popular. So you can see from here, these are the only popular SaaS providers. So now I hope you understand about the SaaS completely. So you understand what is SaaS, you understand what are their properties, you understand what are their characteristics, you understand how it looks like, and the other things as well. So means based on that, if suppose you understand these things, then we go through, or means for what it is suitable, and we can see that for what it is not suitable, and go on and go off. So then we will be able to finally finally find out that which could be the possible means. Now you can see that you can be able to fetch based on the requirement of the industry, that with which industry it can be fit or the best fit. So I hope you understand this one. So now the same pattern we will go for the PaaS, and the same pattern we will go for the IaaS as well. So we will go in a way so we can see that how that is. And then once you understand all these three, then you will be finally able to become a consultant, or you can be able to means fetch the user requirements based on his or her requirements, and you can means knowing about the pros and cons and the services whatever available from the different models. So anyhow, now we are going for the platform as a service. So in a platform as a service providers, they actually provide the development platform for the data centers. Okay, there are the organizations, and they can provide the platform so they can means utilize that platform, and then they can means develop their own required whatever the necessities that they can fill them. So developer can consume the services over the internet. So the same pattern that you can means have to have the internet for this as well. You have to have the browsers so you can access, and most of the services, most of the APIs and these things you can be able to utilize from here. Like suppose we have the Google Cloud, like suppose we have the Amazon clouds, like suppose we have the Intel clouds, like we have the Salesforce cloud. So we can use their HPC machines, we can use their GPUs, we can use their so many services, and we can configure and we can run our programs from our own machine. So for that, we are not supposed to require to install and configure these all things, but we can utilize them, we can use their services, and we can come up with our own development. So the basic criteria, the basic difference from the past from with the previous one, which is the SaaS we just completed. So you remember at that level, the software and everything was ready. We are just there as a user. But here we are there as a user, and also we are able to use their services, and then we are able to means able to develop and fulfill our own requirements as well. So applications can be developed online and deployed on the same platform. We can means, build applications by using their platform, by using their services, and so many other things. And at the same time, we will be able to means deploy those applications even on the cloud using the same platform. Well, we may not means require anything or any infrastructure or any hardware or any machines at our own private premises, but we can use that one. That's why for anything, for installation, for developing, for using services, for everything, the platform is available from the cloud. That's why we call this the platform as a service. So this is how it's known as the PaaS. Okay. So now here we go. The what services they are provided by the PaaS providers. Yeah, there are so many. They provide programming languages like what we just discussed now. In case if suppose we are using the GPUs, in case if suppose we are using the other APIs, in case of suppose we are using their HPC machines, we can from the clouds. So we can configure. You may be using for your data science courses. You may be using for your cybersecurity courses. You may be using the different services, and you can be able to develop the different means programs, and then you will be able to deploy them. So while you are using the different services, while you're using the different APIs, while you're using the different programming languages, you are not supposed to install them, but you are using through the virtual machines. So you can see that what services they are providing, they are providing the programming languages as well. Means those programming languages and everything is configured and they are there. You are not supposed to means configure and install them, but you can be able to access them. And they are providing you the different application frameworks as well. They are providing you the databases as well. So you are not supposed to install and configure the application frameworks or the database services or even the different tools on your own machine, but they all are there, and you can be able to utilize their services, their databases, their frameworks, their languages, programming languages, their tools. And there are so many things, and then you are able to develop the things, and also you can use their clouds to deploy them as well. So this is how this is the platform as a service is. So going ahead, we can see now once you understand its basic, which is the most important. So now you can be able to understand that what the characteristics are this one, because we need to follow the same pattern what we followed for the SaaS, so as we can be able to understand things in a better way. So you can see from here that they are all in one, like suppose services, programming languages, databases, and tools and techniques, and HPC machines and everything. So you can see that all they are means at the same level. So there is no issue. You can be able to access them, and you can be able to utilize them. There will be no issue in that. Now, web access to the development platform. This is also another characteristics that you may not be required anything especially, but you may be only required that is the means web browser, so you can be able to access the services and you can be able to manage them easily. What are the other characteristics? Like if we compare with the previous one, so you can see that the offline access you have for some of the components, some of the services they provide you. offline access as well. So you can develop your services, you can write your programs and everything. And once you get the online, so you can be able to means able to post them. So sometimes they are providing chunk of services, sometimes they are providing partially services, but they are having these characteristics to provide that one. And the scalability is built in because you are using those resources, you are not using your own resources. That's why the scalability is there. So it is a built-in scalability. It is not required and not no need to be managed by the individual client or the customer or the organization, but that can be managed and built in there by the cloud services. So there is a collaborative platform. We are not only one who are developing. We are not only one who are, say, for example, using their GPUs. We are not only one who are using their services, but there are other people they are also. There are other people they are also developing. So when we are saying it's a collaborative, so it means that if suppose we are using from here, if we have our company, our people are the members from the different regions, different organizations as well. So we can jointly can be able to develop those solutions as well. So this can be collaborative work can be done. So normally the people they are doing the huge applications, the giant applications they are doing in a collaborative way, and then they are using these services. The Google they are using, Microsoft they are using, like suppose while they are preparing their operating systems and these things. So they are working in a collaborative environment. They don't have all of employee at the one place, but they are working in a collaborative environment. So this is the very important characteristics. So the huge projects they can be means done using these services as well, and also means diverse the client tools. So that there are so many different tools are there, which include the means CLI and the web interfaces, the REST and APIs. These all are available through this one, as we discussed initially. That all of the services are available, so we can use their services and we can build our applications. Either we can build individually, either we can build them on the collaborative model. So the suitability of the BASS, what is the suitability for this one? The suitability for this one is that we can use this for the collaborative work. That's what the most important point about this one. As you remember, I told you that for the same project, the developers and the coders and the programmer, they can be doing the programming, they can be developing the things they can be doing, whatever the task they are supposed to do. So at the same time, from the different regions, from the different countries, they can be able to continue. So that's the most suitability operation for this one. The automated testing and deployment. So you are not supposed to go for the testing and deployment. This is also the better suitability wherever you are going for this one. I just give me 1 minute. It's something seems I think forgot. Just a minute. Okay, guys. Sorry for that because that was the some urgent actually call. Sorry for that. So we just started again. So what we were discussing about the automated testing and the deployment and these things, this is the most suitability. The further suitability is about the time to the market. As we discussed that it can provide us the collaborative work and these things. So it is easy for us. Then means it is the better other suitability is to time to the market. So the PaaS services follow the interactive and the incremental development methodologies that can ensure that the applications in the market as per the timeline and the framework they are given. Because you can work in a collaborative environment, you can use their tools, you are free from the testing and other these things. So this can be helpful for the PaaS services are the best option for the means application development and uses for the agile. I hope that you are aware about this one. This is the software development technique in the software engineering where the GST concept is implemented. The GST concept is actually known as the global software development, where the team members they are working from the different regions and different countries, and that concept is known in software engineering as the GST. So this is the best suitable option, means which is for the GST type or for the collaborative work and for the internationally means group of the people where they are working. So, but again, the PaaS is not means better or not suitable for some of the cases. We cannot say that it is not better, not means good for these things, but we can say it is not better for some of things like suppose for frequent application migration, because here you are doing the development, you are working in a collaborative environment, you are working as a GST model. So if suppose you are means switching again and again, migrating again and again, it depends. Why we are saying again and again? It depends on the application, depend on the requirement of the user, it depends on the client requirement. If this is the case, then this is not suitable. And the customization at the infrastructure level, if suppose you have the customization at the infrastructure level, then it's not suitable because we are discussing about the PaaS, which is the means platform as a service. So if these are the cases, then we may not consider, we may not recommend to the client for this one. So then PaaS is again not suitable for the flexibility platform. Yeah, this is means not as much flexible like what we compare with the SaaS. So we need to be aware about this as well. And the integration with the one premises application, this is also not possible. So these are the what we can say not suitable options. We do understand that these are the not suitable options. And what are the suitable options? What are the characteristics? What are the importance and what are these things? So then this is means something we need to understand, because after that only we will be able to means pinpoint, come up with a proposal, and then we will be able to know that how we can be able to recommend to someone. So now, after knowing this, understanding these things, now we are able to reach to understand what are the pros and positive parts. So you can see from the pros, there are so many what we the things we discussed about suitability, about its characteristics, and what it is. So now we are able to know about these things. So the main advantage in the past is what that is the means it hides the complexity, because you are using different tools, testing, GPUs, services, APIs, programming, different so many programming languages and these things. There is no complexity. This is not on your end. So maintaining the platform underlying the infrastructure. This is the means one of the most appropriate means pros. So that's what we were being discussing. And quick deployment and the quick development means deployment is easy, development is easy. What it means by the quick, because you are not required to do anything. Everything is installed, everything is there. And most of the PaaS services automated the testing and deployment. That's what we already discussed. So it's a quick deployment, quick development, no testing worried to be about these things, no, not to be worried about the APIs, not to be worried about the languages, not to be worried about it, and different tools for testing. So these all are the actually pros of this one. And then the cost factor, it's reduced the total cost. For sure, it reduced the total cost, because if you see, if you are using the means development, and while your peoples are working from the different stages, from the different levels, so you can see that how hard it is. But if you are using GST and you are working in a collaborative model and you are using the different tools and everything, so if we consider these all things, then at the end of the day, we can see that overall cost is very much less and the efficiency is going to be higher. And it is supporting for the agile software development. That's what we just discussed about the GST concept and about these things. So in other words, we can say that this is means they are beside of the whole other properties and the expertise and the pros. The major pros is for this one model is service model is that about the collaborative work. It is the best suitable. then it is the for GST it is the best suitable. Okay, the further are the different teams can work together. Again, this is referring to the same thing, which is the collaborative work, which is the GST concept, and it has the ease of use. So you are not supposed to configure everything, every instances are there, and you will be able to easily means just use them and deploy them and test them and work in a collaborative environment. So what are the other less maintenance? Because you are not having any installation on your machines. So this is the same like the previous model. So you will not be required to have the maintenance, not to be worried about the maintenance, but that will be done there. So these are the pros. But now we have to see that what are the cons as well. So before we reach to the cons, so you can see this is the produces the scalable applications because there is no limit. The collaborative work can be go higher and higher and higher, so it can be means easily accessible and accessible. So there is no issue that can be done easily, and that's why we can see that the scalable applications it can support to the scalable applications as well, and it's easy. But again, we are looking for the cons. So what are the cons? There are the cons. What are the cons they have, like the vendor lock-in, security issue? The security is the same thing, same issue what we had in the previous model as well. Okay, service model. So you see the security is the issue. Vendor lock-in, there are no common standards followed among the different paths. If suppose we are having the different paths, the services we are using, so these are the limitations. Security is the limitation. Vendor lock-in is the means limitation as well at the same time. What are other less flexibility? They're providing so many things, providing tools, providing APIs, provide services, providing programming languages, providing databases, everything, but no flexibility. What do you mean by the flexibility? Because in the database itself, there are so many things. If suppose you are looking for any customized database, so maybe they will not. Whatever you will be able to use, you will be only able to use the services or the means languages or the databases, whatever they are part of that mass model. So that you will be only able to utilize that. So these are the few of the limitations are there. Okay. Then summary of the past providers that what we have, you can see from here, the providers of Cloud Foundry, Google App Engine. And again, here we cannot say that these all are, but these are the only few that what we just discussed, that these are the few of them. Now I hope you understand about the PaaS and the SaaS as well. So now, after understanding about this, now we can go for the last one, which is the IaaS. So these are the, again further for your brainstorming and for your understanding. So you can see there are so many. Now, while we're reaching to the infrastructure as a service, first of all, we need to understand what it is. So in IaaS, our infrastructure in a service, that is actually what it is in it, and means the traditional data centers, the computing power is consumed by having a physical access to the infrastructure. But here we don't have the physical access. We can use the infrastructure, but we can use them using the virtual machines. So you can see from the right side that we have the virtual machines. Okay, so IaaS change the computing form from a physical infrastructure to a virtual infrastructure. So it means that we have infrastructure. Normally, we have to have our own infrastructure, but in that particular case, we can use the infrastructure which is available by the clouds. That is not physical to us, but that is how we can use that one, that we can use in a way using with the help of the virtual machines. So the most and importantly concept which is for IaaS we are using, that is the means technology virtualization to provide the virtual resources. So here we will be using the virtual resources. So now you can see from here the services, what services provided by the IaaS. The services which are provided by the IaaS are normally the computing services, storage services, network services, and the load balances. Now, I believe we are going very close. Your system will be shut down if we will not finish your attendance. So just allow me to finish your attendance, and maybe we 10-15 minutes more we require to finish this lecture. So be ready for the attendance. I will just go for attendance for a moment. So please allow me to stop sharing this one and give you the access for attendance. So please keep your machines ready. So here we go, and here I'm sharing with you the screen for your attendance. Okay, so here is the code 5XY6R7. I can copy and paste that code for you here as well. So you can take a 5 minutes. Okay, I will switch off my mic. You can giving you the 5 minutes of time, so you can be able to finish your attendance quickly, please. And then again we can.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes, please. Yes, please. Go ahead.
Sir, I got question regarding the assignment. Can I ask later?
Yeah, you can. Once we finish the lecture, the forum will be open for a question. No problem. You can ask.
Okay, thank you, sir.
You are welcome. You are welcome. Just please try to finish the attendance as soon as possible as we can. And I believe we can start the lecture because, oh, that's great. You are 9 already done and 10 are present. So what do you think? Because the for the attendance, the code is already available here. So the code is here, or maybe we can give the 1 more minute, and after 1 minute, we will stop sharing that one and we can start the lecture. Okay, the code is there. System will be means on, so anybody can be able to pin in his attendance for the next 10 minutes.
Sir, hello, sir.
Yes, please. Yes, please. Go ahead.
My phone is broken, so I can't actually access the app.
Okay, so please, you need to send me the email with your ID and name. I will manually manage your attendance.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you, sir.
Yeah, sure. Huh? Don't forget to. Huh? You do
Okay,
it as soon as possible. So at the end of the class, I will fix it up.
okay, thank you, sir.
You are welcome. So I believe now we can start because attendance is almost done. So the screen is there, and then I'm just only system will be active for the next 7 minutes. I'm just stopping it here and just going back to your presentation so we can start. So here we go. I hope that you are able to have the screen. Please confirm.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that's great. So, like services provided by the IaaS providers. So these are the services like the means computing, storage, network, and the load balancing. And then we can go to see what are the characteristics for this one. So the web access to the resources, because when we have the infrastructure, we can have the centralized management as well. In the web access, can enable the IT users to access the infrastructure because this is the infrastructure. So you can understand now here we are able to means control and handle the infrastructure, but virtually, and that can be managed centralized from the one point. While what we were doing about the platform, so in the platform we will be able to means have the access to so many things like the softwares, programming languages, databases, APIs, and so many other resources as well. But here you will not see the resources here because this is only for the infrastructure. So we can be able to have the infrastructure, and then we have the access using the virtual machines, and then using their infrastructure, if we wish to do something, whatever we want wish to do, we can go for that. But that will be only possible doing this. This is how you need to understand the difference between this model and the previous model. So it will be easy for you to understand the things. Now you can see from, what are the characteristics for this one? That most and importantly, this is the dynamic scaling, and it is the elastic. Elasticity, it means that you are free to do. Now you have infrastructure up to what level you want to go, you can. And you have the shared infrastructure as well. So in this way, you can be using and you can be sharing and you can be approaching, accessing using the virtual machines. So virtual machines has the highly important role in this IaaS. So you can see everywhere that this is the VMS, because these are the virtual machines. So we can use the virtual machines and we can means do that. But at this stage, we are trying to understand that how it is different from the previous service models as well. Then we are supposed to understand that if suppose we know these things, then we will be only able to come up with our own proposal for based on the client requirements. So these are the pre-configured VMS are there. It means already virtual machines are configured. We can use them. We can access the infrastructure, and then we can share the infrastructure as well. And then we can be able to build any kind of the things. And it is very much elastic and it's very much dynamic. And the other thing that is, it is the metered service. What it mean by the metered service? So it means that how much service we are using, we are only supposed to pay that much. So it doesn't mean that we are supposed to pay means most of the time or everything, but how much it is, we can be able to pay that much service, that much whatever it is required. So going ahead, now after this, we need to see that if suppose these are the cases, then what is the suitability for this case? In what cases it is suitable, where it is suitable. So we can see this is suitable in unpredictable spikes in usage, when we have unpredictable spikes. Like you remember, we were discussing about the uh, social networks. So maybe the someday our customers range goes to the millions, and other day maybe in hundreds. So for if suppose this is the issue, so we cannot keep or extend our own infrastructure up to that level, because then the cost will involve highly. Then we can use this one. And suppose it's suitable, like suppose if we have a limited capital. So if we have a limited capital, limited investment, then this is the most suitable option for us. And this is means on suitable in a way that it is infrastructure on demand. Like suppose whenever we require, we can use. If suppose we don't require for 1 month or for 6 months, no need to use, no need to use, and no need to pay, because you remember in its characteristics that it is the metering service. So if we are using, then we are paying. If we are not using, then we are not paying. So as a whole, we can see that this is the something which is good for the unpredictable options, and this is good for the to saving the cost, and this is good for sharing the resources as well. But again, this is not suitable for so many things. Like what those things are, when you use it is very much minimal. You remember we just say what is the means suitable for unpredictable uses, when the range is going from the hundreds to thousands or thousands to millions. So then this is means more good. But if suppose we have a very limited usage, and we know that our organization has a normal number of the users, and it cannot go beyond that one, then this is not suitable. Okay. Or when any and regulatory compliances means does not allow to means go for this one, then it is not suitable. Whenever we require a better performance, then again this is not suitable, because we are going with the virtual machines. So the latencies and delays and security issues will be there. And when there is a need of the control, if suppose we want to control our infrastructure as a physically, so in that particular case, because here we don't have physical access, so we have only the access to the virtual machines. So in that particular cases is not means more suitable. So in other words, we can means conclude in a way like for the previous one we concluded that is the more better for the collaborative work, for the GST model, for the agile model. So in this we can say that this is more suitable for that particular case. If suppose we have less investment, and whatever the services or the company whatever we are using, they have unpredictable number of the users, they have the unpredictable usage of the services. So then in that particular case this could be the better option. So now we can see that what are the pros. So already we discussed that pay as you use the model. So it's a less pay, whatever the services we use, we can pay that much only. We are not required to pay anything further than that, and reduce the means total cost. TCO, it means that is goes for the total cost. So it can reduce our cost, and based on our own requirement, based on our own necessity. So in other words, you can see that this is better. As a pay model, it reduces our cost, and it is good for the companies which are having the low capital. For these things, it is good. So these all comes under the pros. And it is elastic, and we can utilize the resources in a better way, and it also supporting to the green IT. What it mean that the resources we can save, money we can save, time we can save. Resources are elastic. It means whenever we required more, we can go more. Metering system is there, and whenever we use the more, we can pay more. Otherwise, we can pay less. So if we can utilize the better resources, we can pay less. These are things are the good options in this one. But again, at the same time, there are the cons as well. The cons of the IASR are security issues. So you need to notice here, security issue is in IASS, security issue is in PASS, AAS, PAS. Sorry, I'm saying means said and wrongly PASS, not, but EAAS, IAAS, and the SAS. So security issue is in SOS, PAS, and AS in all. That is the common means issue. Then the interoperability issue. This is the another issue with this model in the infrastructure. That was not there in the past. That was not there in the source as well. Performance issue because of the latency, because of the network connections, because of the virtual machine performance. The performance issues are also the cons for this one. So we cannot means compare this with our own physical solution what we have. So these all are the issues and the problems. And these are the summaries of the IaaS providers, like suppose Amazon, Google, Compute, Azure, and so many other things. Other companies, they are also providing these services for the this model, which is for the IaaS. So here we just summarize them. So from this model, you can see actually what is the PaaS, SaaS, and IaaS. So from here, you can be able to see that what it is. So A is for IaaS, B is for PaaS, and the C is for SaaS. So we try to means come up with a one model where you can see that what things are actually available and what it is suitable. So that's what we discussed all of them. So now you will be able to understand their characteristics, their pros and their cons, their services, what they're providing, what they are, what are their limitations. So now if suppose any client is coming to you and he's asking that I'm looking for some of the service model, so please need your help. So now you will be able to help them. How you can be able to help them? You can be able to help them in a way that how it can be means done based on the fetching with their requirements. So this is the summary. Again, whatever the things we discussed already, so we just try to summarize them. So we're just going to skip this one because we have discussed this thing. So that's all about the service models. I hope that you understand what service models they have, what pros they have, what cons they have, what different characteristics they have, for what they are most suitable, for what they are not suitable, and what are their properties, how they work, how what type of the benefits they have. But these all are things we need to understand in a well manner as we can be able to recommend or suggest to any one of the cloud. So thank you very much for your time, and sorry it was a bit longer lecture. So I hope you are done with this one. Now, if you have any question, you are most welcome. You can ask the question, or suppose the one was asking about the assignment, so we can start discussion about that. Thank you once again.